Again, Marina City was so phenomenally successful, they wanted to recreate the magic on the South Branch with River City. But when they built this building in the early 1980s, they didn't take into account that this neighborhood at that time, dead. Nothing going on here, nobody was living here, nobody wanted to live here. And the river, like the North Branch, on the stinky side. So we're looking at the building still here. Now this area is called the South Loop, it's thriving, our river's getting better. I've had friends who lived here, they love it. It's the same thing, smaller scale, place to live. Level for stores, level with the curtains of the daycare center, and then underneath the place to park your boat. I also get a little nervous at this point in the tour because I talked to another tour guide who said he was pointing at the building and found somebody was mooning him. Hasn't happened to me yet. So I don't know if that's good or bad. Maybe I'm not good enough to be mooned. I don't know. The World's Fair was tremendously successful. The city was so proud of Daniel Burnham. They went up to him and said, "Hey, good job, bro." We were wondering what it would be like if you had a plan for the city, and that's when the 1909 city plan came along. Daniel Burnham was building on a trend that he helped create in smaller cities called City Beautiful, where people were intentionally designing their cities to look gorgeous, but also very people-friendly. His vision for Chicago is that we would be a city in a garden. So you probably picked up on this. There are a lot of public parks in Chicago, a lot. There's over 600. There are public parks all over the place. Some of them are really tiny, some of them are really huge with lagoons and islands in them. Crazy beautiful. Any neighborhood you're in, you're likely in walking distance to half a dozen public parks. We also believe the lake belongs to the people. So we have 25 miles of public land along our lakefront. So anytime you want to walk up to that lake and look at it free, you can because of Daniel Burnham. We also put our streets on a grid system. Lots to be thankful for with that guy. Tell you more about him as we go along. Right now, I want to introduce you to our royal family. We have a king, a queen, and a princess in our skyline. King, a queen, and a princess. Princess is coming up on the right over here. You can see the top of an Art Deco building with a dark triangle and a statue on top of that. That's our princess. That's a 30-foot Art Deco tribute to Ceres, the Roman goddess of agriculture. Ceres is where we get the word cereal. Now the reason Ceres is on that building, that's a Chicago Board of Trade, and when it opened in 1930, grain commodities, super popular here in the Midwest. That building's also a part-time actor, Wayne Enterprises, in the Batman movies. Right in front of us is our queen, a salmon-colored building with a crown. That's 311 South Wacker. That crown lights up. Now when they first lit it up in 1990, when the building opened, it was loaded with 1,800 fluorescent tubes. It was so bright, it messed with the migratory patterns of birds that mistook it for the moon. We've learned a few things. Don't need to have our lights be that bright. They've long since been switched out for LED lights, and now the entire city dims their lights during migratory season. We also put a sign up there that says moon with an arrow pointing up. I think that helps. Behind the queen, the king of Chicago, the SearsTower. Yes, that's the proper way to greet a king. Random wooing. Good job. That's royal protocol. The SearsTower opened in 1974. It was the tallest building in the world for almost 25 years. Now it's only the 24th tallest in the world. Third tallest in America. Tallest building in America, of course, One World Trade Center in New York. Now, when they built this building, they had never built a 110-story tall building before. They had to come up with a new technique to deal with sway. Nobody had thought of inertial slosh dampers yet. So Fosler Khan, the structural engineer and his crew, came up with a technique called bundled tubes, or bundled tubing. You'll notice it's not one solid box shape from the street to the top. It's actually 9 towers. 7 of the towers are different heights, supporting one another to get to the 2 tallest towers. They got their inspiration from a pack of cigarettes. They noticed one loose cigarette, not a strong structure, but a cigarette with other cigarettes around it. You had something going on. So parents, if your kid looks bored, instead of giving them an iPad, maybe a pack of cigarettes. They might be geniuses. Available for babysitting. I said One World Trade Center is taller, but One World Trade Center right next door to the SearsTower, and you stood on the roof of the SearsTower with a giant antenna arm, and you looked over at One World Trade Center, you'd actually have to look down beneath your rooftop in order to see their rooftop, which is below you. You might be thinking, hey Joe, that's not how tall buildings work. Here's what's going on. One World Trade Center has a spire that goes up higher than our rooftop. Now, if you're not familiar with the term spire, it's like one of our giant antenna, but it has zero function. It's just a stick. It's a stick put on a building to make it taller. That's the only reason it's there. Now, we have those giant antennae. You see those? They don't count towards our height. Antennae are considered functional and added onto the building, whereas a spire is considered part of the original design. So spires count, antennae do not. Who came up with this rule? The Council on Tall Buildings. A real thing. Headquartered in New York, by the way. Just saying. On your side of the Matt building, you get a great view of the Sears Tower again, and we'll be able to see the glass balconies up near the top. Yeah, it's called the Ledge. Has anybody been up in there? Have you done that? It's a blast, isn't it? It's all part of the Sky Deck experience. If you haven't done that, starts in the basement. Really cool interactive museum down there. Then you take an express elevator up to the level where those glass boxes are up there. You'll see them soon if you don't see them yet. You can walk out into them. You can see underneath you. You can see around you. Some people jump up and down in them. I do not. When you're in those glass boxes, though, remember to look over at the old post office. You'll see the urban park on top of the building. Really, really fun experience. 2 people have successfully climbed the outside of the Sears Tower. One guy did it in 1980, named Daniel Goodwin. Daniel Goodwin did it wearing a homemade Spider-Man outfit. We call him Spider Dan. Spider Dan had suction cups on his hands and used hooks. Took him 6 hours to get from the street level all the way to the roof, where he was warmly greeted by the Chicago Police Department. They gave him a free meal and a place to stay. It was very nice of them. Another guy climbed it in the 1990s, a Frenchman named Alain Robert. Get this. Alain Robert climbed the Sears Tower in 1 hour and 22 minutes. Barehanded. No equipment. No ropes, no nets, no nothing. He literally just scurried up the side of the building. Whereas, you know, Spider-Man, that's where Spider-Man and suction cups and hooks. But this is what Alain Robert does. Alain Robert has climbed the tallest buildings in the world. Alain Robert has climbed the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Tallest building on the planet. If you haven't seen the Burj Khalifa, imagine the Sears Tower with about 3/4 of another Sears Tower on top of it, and it's all glass. It's all glass. Took him 6 hours to climb it, but he did it barehanded as well. Most amazing thing to me about Alain Robert, he's still alive. Burj Khalifa, by the way, designed by Chicago architect Adrian Smith, earning his nickname "World's Tallest Architect." You might be thinking to yourself, "Oh, that Joe, stubborn Chicagoan, refused to call just calls the Sears Tower, refused to call it Willis Tower." It's not even like that in my brain. That building is Sears Tower to me. Has been since I was a kid. It still is. Default mode in my brain. If you don't know the whole Willis Sears story, I'll give you a quick 20-second version of it. The building was built for Sears department stores, of course. They were headquartered there. 30 years ago, they moved out to the suburbs, way out past O'Hare Airport. We still called it Sears Tower. Not a crazy thing as it might sound. A lot of old buildings are called by their original names. Here's an example, the Wrigley Building. Wrigley does not own that building anymore, and I'm sure we'll forever call it the Wrigley Building. 15 years ago, an insurance group from Great Britain wanted to open up offices in America, the Willis Company, and while they were negotiating office space, they came in one day with a huge pile of money, like, hey, what if we also call it Willis? And the owners were like, okay, and they scooped up that big pile of money, even though no one in Chicago liked this one bit. But VIP backstage tour, I've got some news for you. I'm surprised more people in Chicago aren't talking about this. That naming rights contract that Willis signed was only for 15 years. It expired. It expired at the end of last year. They did not renew it. They did not try to renegotiate it. They just let it go, which I understand that. They thought having a big, tall building named after them would be great for their reputation. They just got a bunch of ridicule from Chicagoans over it. So they're like, oh, we're going to keep paying millions of dollars for verbal abuse. I think we're done here. But what's really weird is that there's no no news, no talk going on. There's no gossip, no rumors. Like nobody's talking about what a new name could be, or there's no speculation about it. Even I have friends who live at they work at SearsTower. They may as well live there. They haven't heard anything. It won't legally go back to SearsTower. I am sure we will always call it that. What I hope they don't do is open up the naming rights to a bidding war, because then we'll get Taco Bell, T-Mobile, Cool Ranch, Dorito, Guaranteed Rate Tower, which no one in Chicago is like that. I think people have misconceptions about what Chicagoans are stubborn about or passionate about. If you're visiting us for the first time, you might think we're oddly obsessed with deep dish pizza. Anyone try deep dish pizza for the first time? Yeah, did you like it? You didn't like it? Where'd you go? Giordano's would not be my first choice. But it's not a horrible thing. It's like, you know, we live in Chicago. It's like an embarrassment of riches. It's not that I don't like deep dish pizza, but I think I'm like most Chicagoans. I have a slice of it about once a year or so, and it's when friends or family are in town and they want to try it. It's a very visitor-based food industry in Chicago. Because if you had it, you know, I have a slice of deep dish pizza. I'm down for a 3-hour nap till acid reflux kicks in. There's another style of Chicago pizza I'm a big fan of. You should check this out, tavern style. It actually predates deep dish pizza, and it is amazing. It's made in Chicago bars, cracker thin crust, a little burnt around the edges, that's a key ingredient, a little burnt, and it's cut into squares. They call it Chicago party style. It's hard to find it downtown. Mostly you have to go in the neighborhoods and ask around. Best places downtown I have found, in the South Loop, there's a place called Flo and Santos. They do it. It's near the Field Museum. And then there's another place. It's a new restaurant that opened west of here and a little north of here called Professor Pizza. Ridiculous name, but and even on their menu it doesn't say tavern style. It says crispy crust. Get the crispy crust pizza. Ask for it tavern style. They do a wonderful job. And by the way, Flo and Santos, Professor, they don't know I'm making this recommendation. This is a free and clear recommendation. But tell them so I eventually get free pizza. On the other side of Lake Street Bridge, look to the right. I got a building I want to show you called the Nuveen Building, N-U-V-E-E-N. Classic contextualism for what we've been seeing so far today, but look close. Some of the rows of windows are a dark green because of the river. Some of them are a lighter color to better reflect the sky and other buildings. But of course, the big clue is the shape. Look at the side here. It's got a curve built right into the side of the building to go along with the bend of the river we are currently in. This building fits right in with all these other newer buildings, but that building opened in 1983, and you've seen it if you've ever seen the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's where Ferris Bueller's dad works. There's a scene where he looks out his office window at the parade below. It's from the Nuveen Building.